Hi friends, and welcome back to This Is For The Soul. I'm your lovely host, Brianna Sade. On this podcast, I get into everything mental health, personal growth, spirituality, girl talk, you name it, I'm gonna talk about it. But before we jump into today's episode, I want to wish all of my friends out there and listeners a happy holiday season. And I want to remind you that if no one told you that they love you today, just know that I do. This season, this time of year, can be a very stressful, chaotic time of year, even though it is meant for celebrating and happiness and all those good things. But in reality, not everyone is happy. Not everyone is feeling the joy. And I think this is something that needs to be brought to light and normalized to not feel okay during this time of year, because life be lifing and it's hard out here in these streets. That leads us into what today's episode is going to be about, and I'm going to be discussing seasonal depression, aka SAD, which is Seasonal Affective Disorder, and something that I like to call the holiday blues. So to share a little bit, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety about 3 years ago during a challenging, chaotic time in my life. While it wasn't chronic, I've noticed that around this time of year, so like November, December-ish, that was the time where my struggles intensified. I knew what seasonal depression was, but I really didn't think too deep into it, and I learned that there are a lot of factors that can play into SAD, and that is the lack of daylight, the seasonal changes, less vitamin D, and the list goes on. And as a woman, a Black woman at that, vitamin D is very important, because when you are lacking it, it does play a role on your mental health, and it can make you depressed. I realized how to slow down and be easy on myself, because I talk about this all the time, but specifically this time of year is a time for rest and reflection and slowing down. And it's important to nurture yourself during this time. And if that means you have to change up your routines and say no when it's necessary and leaning into activities that bring you peace, please do it. And if you're someone like me and hates sitting still, it's hard to say no, even when you know you should. But sometimes that no is very needed, because your mind, your body, and your soul, they need rest. And whether you choose to ignore the signs or not, the universe will sit you down. The universe will find a way to intervene and sit you out to take that necessary rest. So listening to your body is key, and also staying connected to those around you that love and care about you. And don't hesitate to reach out to a therapist or a professional, because sometimes professional help is just what we need to get ourselves on track during transitional phases in our life that are hard to navigate. Therapy really does work. I was in therapy actively at a point, currently not, but I'm trying to get back into it. It does help, and it is recommended if you are trying to navigate through difficult feelings and emotions that you just can't deal with on your own. But alongside the seasonal depression, there's also something called the holiday blues. And this is not a clinical thing, but it's just a name for those feelings we feel tied to the pressure of the season. And it's something you may face and not even know it, because it's not something you can diagnose. It's just feelings. And there are a lot of factors that play a role in this, like life changes, adult responsibilities, and expectations that have been placed to make the holidays feel a lot less magical as they did as a kid. When you become an adult, there's a lot more responsibilities that are put onto your plate. So now you can no longer just sit back and experience like you did as a kid, which is why things are a lot more different. And it's like the older you get, the more you're expected to perform in certain aspects. And my take is the pressure to be merry and bright can feel very overwhelming, especially when real life issues like grief, financial stress, or family dynamics take a play. Everybody's life is different, and sometimes loss and financial pressures and just that overall energy of striving to keep traditions alive and things like that, that can cause burnout. It can. And grief, I can't even talk on that because I have not experienced that myself, but I can just imagine what that feels like, especially during a time that's meant to be very celebratory like now. So my heart goes out to anyone that is grieving around this time or just dealing with the pain of losing a loved one or someone that they care about that they can't be with anymore. But I do think that we should normalize these feelings, normalizing the feelings of not being okay, because it's okay to not be okay. You're human, and you should not have to force joy or feel obligated to show up if you're not up to it. If you don't want to show up to that family function, you don't have to show up to that family function, and you shouldn't feel forced to. Coping with sad and the holiday blues can be easy when you have the right type of support around you, and also when you understand that you don't have to be perfect. The one thing that I like, the past 3 years for me, I could say I've dealt with the holiday blues and just not in the spirit, because I don't know why. It just doesn't feel the same as when we were kids. And of course, nothing's ever going to be the same, but I had to be realistic. And being realistic means letting go of chasing nostalgia or trying to recreate the perfect holiday, recreating how it used to be when we were kids. And it's like, your life will never be the same. So the one thing to do is to just accept that and work around what we have and work around how we can create new ways of bringing in peace and joy. And also, social media can play a big role in this. The consistent scrolling can add to those pressures. You might see someone else doing something for their family, or someone else's holiday might be looking a certain way, and because yours is not looking that way, or because your life is not reflecting that, it can make you sad. So what I would say during the season is to limit the time that you're on the internet, because that can take a toll on your mental health. Doom scrolling wouldn't make it any better. Trying to escape reality wouldn't make it any better. It will actually just make it worse. So just limit your time on social media and remember to be realistic, okay? Another thing you can do is set boundaries. Say no to the things that drain you and protect your peace unapologetically. Like I said, if you don't want to go to that family function, you shouldn't feel forced to go. You shouldn't have to go if you aren't up for it. If your peoples really care about your mental health, they should understand. And if they don't, well, you putting yourself first just goes to show that you care. It shows that you care about yourself and your mental and what you will take and what you won't take. Just set those boundaries. Tell people, hey, look, I don't think I can do this because I'm not feeling XYZ, or I'm just not up to go here or up to do this thing. And by you doing that, and people's reactions will show you who's really rocking with you and who's not. You feel me? So just protect your peace. Next, we have embrace those small joys. So focusing on moments of gratitude, even if they're small, like drinking a cup of hot chocolate, reading a book, hanging out with your pets, your friends, your immediate family, and just doing things that bring you joy while being present can set you up for good vibes and just bring that feeling of love and happiness, because sometimes all we need is a little bit of love. Sometimes all we need is to be surrounded by people who we care about to uplift us and bring our moods back to where it should be. Yes, this is a time for celebrating. Yes, this is a time for happiness, but it is also okay to not be happy. Acknowledging that and nurturing yourself and bringing yourself back to that place so you can be able to show up for others is also important, right? And that's why reaching out for support and being open and receptive to helping others can also get you through this. If you're struggling, there are so many outlets out there for you. You just have to take the time to look. Like I said, there's therapy, talk to your friends, your family, there's online communities. There are people out there who will just be willing to listen to you. Hell, if anybody needs to DM me on one of my social media platforms, I will be glad to help you and hear you out, okay? But you have to know that you are not alone. And if the holidays feel heavy, if you need a break, if you are overstimulated, if you're just feeling grief or whatever you're feeling, prioritize your mental health and do not feel bad about it, okay? Because you only live one life and you gotta do what's best for you, not for everybody else, okay, friends? So if this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts, and I would love to hear how you guys are prioritizing your mental health through this holiday season. And feel free to share those thoughts with me in the comments on social media. You can DM me on Substack, Lemonade, whatever you feel like. I'm here to listen. And just make sure that you take care of yourself, and remember that your peace matters more than any type of holiday expectation. Okay, this episode was very short, sweet, simple, and to the point. And I just love you guys. And I just really want you guys to take care of yourself and your mental. Okay, with that being said, that is the end of this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed listening. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye. Mwah.